Rochester and streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
You found us, Rochester's only local afternoon drive sports talk show. It's a privilege to be talking sports with you in the Flower City on this beautiful Friday. Like, some Fridays are better than others. This one is a great Friday for many different reasons. One, the weather, right? Two, the Bills are winning, and we're all looking forward to what we think is going to be a big Bills win coming up on Sunday. Maybe you've got plans tomorrow. Fantastic college football weekend. We had a big announcement today. We will get to that. We've got something going on in the studio next to us, too. We'll get to that as well. Danger's missing all this one last day. 3T, terrible time, Timmy, or terrible take, Timmy. Which would you prefer to go by?
You can call me whatever. It all works out the same. I'm just happy to be here. This is fun. I didn't expect to feel the way I felt, but let's have ourselves a day.
Yeah. I don't know if that came through. See, when they moved us to this new studio, right, we are directly next to our sister station, WBEE. And WBEE for many, many years, an afternoon drive was Billy Kidd. And Billy Kidd now is kind of the captain of the morning show with Hope and TJ over there. And one of the name over the years that you came to know, Terry Clifford, she retired. She's back today. She is coming out of retirement. So Terry Clifford, because it's the Be a Hero Day, and I just heard her coming right through the glass. So you might hear Terry.
Some shrieking.
Some shrieking. That is Terry T-Bird. We lovely call her. So I stumble over my words. So while Terry is coming out of retirement, there is one man that is going into retirement. The legendary Don Stevens announcing today that this upcoming season will be his last as the voice of the Rochester Americans. He is hanging it up, and it makes perfect sense. 70 years for the franchise they're celebrating. This will be year number 40 for Don behind the mic. 40. Think about that. And today, the team putting out a video, Don in first person, telling some of the reasons why. And if you are an Amherst fan, even if you're not an Amherst fan, you watch this, it's hard not to choke up. Don himself is choking up because, Tim, while he acknowledges, hey, the time has come. In so many words, he's saying, maybe I lost something off the fastball here. I want to be held to a standard, and this will be it. On the other hand, it's so tough to walk away from something you love. And clearly, Don loves this franchise. He loves our city. So Don is going to give us a few minutes. He's coming in today. And this is your opportunity as the Rochester sports fan. I want you to call in and say thanks to Don. Please do that. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. When Don gets here. Don is going to be here at the bottom of the hour. And I don't know who might be calling in too, Tim. With the open phone lines, we'll just put it that way. If you're an Amherst fan, you never know who might be calling in at the bottom of the hour.
It's going to be a fun discussion.
That for sure.
Looking forward to it, personally.
Damon Amendolara, who for many years was on this station, he is now the host of the Bill Maddock podcast. He's also on Mad Dog Radio, but DA will be joining us. Can't give you the time. Here's the reason. DA is going to be in Buffalo this weekend. He's flying up. And with his flight time, Tim, he's going to be going through security. Now, security, I would assume it's LaGuardia he's going through. Like how much, like here in Rochester, half hour would be the top. Sometimes you can fly right through depending on the time of day. LaGuardia, good luck. So as soon as DA gets through security, His flight is actually at 5:30. So 5:30 flight, you start boarding at 5-ish. I'm going to put the window, Tim, somewhere 4:15 to 4:45. Is that fair for DA?
I'll take it.
Yeah, so DA, it might not be a full-blown hit with DA, but it will certainly be something that you'll want to listen to if you're a Bills fan. He's in Buffalo tomorrow. He's doing an appearance. We'll let DA tell you how you can hook up with him. Again, our phone number, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Our handle on X, The Fan Rochester. The table is set for what is going to be a great sports weekend. Before we get to the news of the day, I mean, today is about Don, kind of, moving on. And we all have our Don Stevens stories, but I would just say he's really like the soundtrack of Rochester in the winter and the spring. And even to this day, Amerks are in Laval, and I'm hanging by his every word. And Andrew Mossbrooks has done a fantastic job as he's taken the load off of Don here, because the travel is, sometimes too much, particularly those 3 games in 3 days. But it's just a reminder that, the hourglass, the sand in the hourglass is not infinite. It really isn't. Like, we only have a limited amount of time. And we had Don in, Tim, 2-3 years ago, in talking about what kind of came up, like, hey, how much longer? It's only a natural question, right? You've been doing this so long. I'm sure he got asked the question a lot. And he gave an honest response. And in his response, you think, man, this is somebody that has the talent and the pipes. And he got to call one Sabre game. That was in St. Louis. And he was up for the Kings job, up for other jobs. It's like the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, where, all right, maybe this didn't go to what my plan was, but you know what? You have a whole community that loves you, a whole fan base that loves you. You have a press box that's been named after you. So for Don Stevens, I guess that's kind of the lesson in life, and in our community too. It's like, yeah, Don, you're forever one of us, and we're all going to be measuring our, in my business, you held us to the standard.
He's been an integral part of this community, and I'll dive into it more once he's actually in the building to be able to share it with him. But yeah, I've been working with him directly for about a decade now, but I've known him my entire life. And something like this today, you don't really expect to get you, even if you are ready for it. So this coming season for me is going to be really special, being a part of those broadcasts too. Yeah,
and for Don, like, you think that's a life of glamour and everything. And look, there are perks, not gonna but he points out in his goodbye message there, it's a little taxing on your family when you're gone, for weekends at a time, for sure. And Don has those around him, and I'm hopefully he's going to be taking some time here. But the good things, we have Mossbrooks. Even though Mossbrooks, Phillies fan, not really into that, and he won't eat pizza. That's a little weird. But at least there is somebody that is waiting in the wings to help out, and it kind of sets the table too for what we think is going to be an exciting Amerks season. The way the Amerks will go. It's okay. We know some of these veterans. We know some of them won't be here that long. We know some of them are noticed. I'm looking at you, Isak Rosane. We hope that Levi gets it together and he goes up. And then there's a bunch of kids we don't know what to make of this team. There are some holes. Like, I don't like the fact that Big Murr is no longer a part of this team, but that's the way minor league hockey goes here, Tim. So it really is a journey. And for the Amerks, I could just say, all right, my expectation is you're in the party. This isn't going to be the Utica Comets. They were a disaster last year coming out of the gate. There's talent on this roster. And with talent, maybe you don't get 2 points every night, but you sure as heck are going to be a postseason team. That's my expectation for the Rochester Americans. And when you're a postseason team, and knowing that the Sabres may not be, yeah, let's go get a cup. We're overdue for a cup here in Rochester, too.
I remember vividly being there the last time it happened, and I hope to, again, experience. The last couple of years have been really fun to be alongside of, but eventually it has to come to fruition, and this roster is as good, if not better, than last year. Some people will come out and overachieve or exceed our expectations. We've got 76 games in front of us, and one more final season of Don Stevens, and that carries some weight. A lot of these guys aren't here for very long, but when you work that closely with the team, you build a relationship with these people, and that's, again, it's a momentum thing that you can't really quantify. We're doing something beyond just what's on the ice now.
Yeah, so it's fun season we're looking forward to. We're going to have the games, of course. Your proud home for Rochester Americans hockey here is the Fan, Rochester. What Danger and I do every Friday, Tim, we pick the Bills game, and Danger will go on CMF. I have not texted with Danger. He's crazy. He'll tell about his world travels up in Toronto. He's going back to his homeland of Minnesota this weekend. He's got a friend going into the High School Hall of Fame that, hey, go do it if you can, right? I don't think the Bills cover. How about that?
That is not where I stand on this game,
okay,
but it's possible. There's a way.
I think, okay.
Backdoor.
It will be ding, ding, ding. 34-19 by any other definition. Well, that still would be a cover by some definition.
No, wasn't 15?
15. All right, I'm looking. It's 15.
Unless we moved it again.
Yeah, no, it's. I just checked him. It's at 15.5. So a 15-point win for Buffalo would be a blowout considered by many, but not covering. 34-19, the Saints get some garbage points at the end, and we'll be like, okay, who cares? The thing that kind of struck me, couple things. One, when the week opened, the most expensive ticket on the secondary market was this one for the Saints. It has nothing to do with the Saints. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. It has to do with the fact of, hey, it's Highmark. I want to go see the stadium one last time. Hey, we're a Super Bowl team, and if we're going to do this, let's pick one game. You're picking, especially if you're from Rochester, the Sunday 1 o'clock. This is the last Sunday 1 o'clock game where we can say, beautiful weather. You don't know that for the Tampa game in November, and there aren't any other 1 o'clock games on the schedule at home. So this is going to big old parlay. And when you and I were just kind of talking offhand, hey, it might be one of those days where you just go down and tailgate, and then somebody called in, yeah, that's what we do. We just kind of, we listen for the crowd and we watch it, and like, wow. So I expect if you're going to go to the game, you might see more people than you normally would. People that just, all right, do we want to watch the game on the patio, or do we want to go down there, be part of the action, and just celebrate this? Tim, I get a sense it's going to be one fun Sunday out in Orchard Park.
Yeah, it's going to be a sellout, and it's going to be a parking lot sellout, and I'm guessing it's always been this way. I'm not a Bills fan, so I can't speak on it directly, but now the national media is picking up on it. This is a college town atmosphere with this team in the stadium and this tailgating, and it's a party every Sunday or whatever day they're playing. And now it's being picked up by the national media how much fun it is to just be a part of the Buffalo Bills tailgating experience.
I think they've been talking about this for a few years now. Like, the narrative changed, Tim, where this team was so bad, but we loved them, and Bills fans came up with their alternate form of fun, and it was when, okay, personalized social media was taking off, and look at this video. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I mean, that was the identity, and I think that was like a coping mechanism. Bills fans used to be known for just getting blackout drunk and doing dizzy sticks and running into a bus or whatever, jumping through flaming tables, whatever it is. And to a certain extent, I mean, the guy who gets the ketchup and, dosed on him, okay, that's a tradition, but that's not the norm. I walk through those parking lots every week. I've never once seen anybody jump through a table. So to me, it's people realize that there aren't any other neighborhoods, maybe to a certain extent Green Bay, but it's in a neighborhood. It's like, it's not off an expressway. It's kind of interesting how the stadium came to be, the place here. So I don't think that's going to change all that much when you go across the street. If you have a satellite light you like parking in, you probably stick with that lot. Some of the traffic patterns may change just a little bit, but I don't think the whole culture of going to a Bills game will be much different. But in a season where you think this is going to be the one, right? I think that's what we're all hoping. well, this is the game you want to go to. One that, okay, I'm going to be comfortable. I'm not going to get rained on or snowed on or freeze myself out. And you don't have stress and anxiety. You're just going to go to a game, and the expectation is, all right, Bills will be up at halftime. Bills will be up in the third quarter. I'm wondering, Tim, do people stick around to the end on this one, or are they going to leave early here?
People are going to stick around to the end just to see if they are going to defeat Vegas. The spread is going to carry dictation. Like, it's going to matter at some point. Unless it's an absolute first half destruction, that spread is going to come into play, and people are now literally invested into that. So it's going to make people stick around.
Well, you stick around for the Mr. Brightside song.
Also that might come at halftime too.
That might. It's like at one point, it's like the mercy rule, right? Okay, we're up by 5 touchdowns. Do 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 da da da. Yeah, like.
If I'm in charge of that and the Bills score a touchdown on the first play, I'm doing it. Like, I want to find out what point is the earliest they can play that song.
Somebody's got to be keeping track of that, right? Because that was the Bills-Ravens game. Tim, I'm telling you the honest truth. I was, watching that game for the press box that, Mr. Bright said, pushed completely out of my mind.
Right.
I'm watching this all kind of unfold, and then I got to play it for a loss. In fact, they haven't. The one time they played it, it's like a little over a year ago, was the Jacksonville game, and it kind of worked, and it became a thing last year. The Bills win the game, fireworks, dun 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 dun, and they announced the final score, handshakes, and then the song played, and then it just oh yeah, that's right.
It's the victory song.
The victory song.
When the Bills are able to comfortably say we're not losing this game, that's when that song busts out. And again, that could come at halftime. It could come in the third quarter, the fourth quarter, but it's going to come on Sunday.
I want it to come. What would that be like for an AFC Championship game? The final game, the final send-off. Everybody would be singing that song at the top of their lungs. And this, I feel like I have my responsibility to point this out. Pretty weird song. Weird lyrics. It's your
the lyrics are definitely interesting. It's actually back when I was in high school, this song was a hit, and I didn't really care for it. Now it's cool because it's cool for something, but I still don't really like the song. I like that it matters to somebody.
No, but it, in the sense that Western New York, and I say we because I think we can fall into this category just like in Buffalo. We've taken our shots, right? In Rochester, hey, we're 3 blocks away here where we're located from Kodak, okay? We've taken our shots. And when you hear the if you just kind of like twist the meaning of that just a little bit instead of it's a guy and a girl, but like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be looking at the positive here. And for 17 years, or 4 Super Bowl losses, if you want to lump in no goal and other things, like, all right, let's do this again. 13 seconds. We're gonna look at the bright side. So to me, in that context, it kind of works. Like, hey, there's always going to be another day. There'll be another girl coming around the corner.
It's taken a long time, but destiny may finally be calling the Buffalo Bills.
Maybe. Oh, there you go, Tim. Like what you did there. The news from Buffalo today. The injury report. Friday officially ruled out for this game. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano. No surprise. A.J. Epineza is questionable. Also questionable Spencer Brown. Landon Jackson hasn't dressed yet. He's been on the 53, game day inactive. Tim, I'm thinking this is the time. Like, get him some work here. Like, if A.J. Epineza isn't 100%, wink, wink, nod, nod. Just rest him and bring the kid in there. A.J. Epineza is not going to be the deciding factor in this game. Like, if the Bills are going against the Ravens and Matt Milano isn't out there, okay, that's a problem. There is no problem with facing this team. They run a hurry up. Good. Fantastic. Hurry up and get off the field, the way I look at it.
Yeah, the way that the schedule lines up for the Bills, there's going to be ample opportunity to get him reps, but it has to start at some point. And what better time than right now, especially with the way that the roster is constructed just through the injury report.
Yeah, it's that, by the way, Don Stevens' announcement, that was what we knew the Emmerichs had put this video together. We knew he was going to come in studio today. I loved all the wrong guesses we were getting on social media, too.
I'm glad nobody guessed right, because that would have been interesting.
That would have been, well, that's why I said wrong answers. Wrong answers. Somebody guessed Red Wings changing affiliation. I'm like, well,
Wishful thinking.
that's right. That's not wrong answer. That's, yeah. Can we fire Washington? No. I guess we can't. I meant that in a baseball term, everybody. We have our talk with Don Stevens coming up. If you are a Rochester sports fan, you're not going to want to miss this. Our phone number, 866-4FAN. And look, if you want to call and thank Don yourself, you're more than welcome to. This is your forum. This is your show. It's a sports bar here on the Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
Big news in our town. The voice of the Rochester Americans, Don Stevens, announcing today that he's going to retire after this season. Don joins us next here in studio on The Fan. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, both out for the Bills as they will be taking on the Saints on Sunday. In the Friday injury report, Spencer Brown and A.J. Epineza both listed as questionable. Bills and Saints, our coverage Sunday will begin at 9 a.m. here on The Fan Rochester. So far, not so good for the U.S. Ryder Cup Day 1, Europe leading 3-1 after the morning sessions. Yankees and Blue Jays tied atop the AL East. We're into the final weekend, 3 games to go. The Blue Jays tonight taking on the Rays. The Yankees taking on the Orioles. Mets need to win, too. They're taking on the Marlins. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Sharon, Jackson, Metcalf, Huda, Hollinger. For Rochester with 9 seconds to go. Face-off to be taken by Hulse to the Pirates. Sharon draws it back. Hollinger chasing it down in his own zone. Flips it off the glass down and down ice, and that's going to be it. That is it. Rochester Americans, the Calder Cup champions.
Oh, to hear that one more time from Don Stevens, the news today. Everyone, please give a nice round of applause for Don Stevens, who joins us in studio today.
Thank you.
Don,
That guy was good. He must be an old-timer.
Don, congratulations. How are you? What's it been like here today?
I don't know that it's congratulations. Maybe that would come at the end of the season when I'm finally done. That might be congratulations. I know it's just such a mixed bag of emotions right now that it's hard to really put into words what I feel, and because I don't know that I really know what I feel yet. It's going to, I've been thinking about this, and with our staff. By the way, I have an entourage here. I'm feeling like I'm important or something these days. Got a whole crew from the office here, but to show my age, I can't remember what I was talking about. No, it's just been so up and down, and we've been talking about this for the possibilities of this happening for actually a couple of years now, and thinking, okay, well, that's a long time away, and all of a sudden, bang! It's today. It's here. This is real. So. It's just emotions are up and down.
Yeah, time's weird as you get older. Like I remember meeting you in the late 80s, and in some ways it seems like yesterday. You have this perspective. Does 40 years feel like 40 years, or does 40 years feel like yesterday, Don?
Well, like yesterday. In fact, they were showing a picture of my very first broadcast, which was 1969 or 70, something like that, my first day behind a board where Timmy is right now. And it seems like maybe that was 5-6 years ago. That's 58 years ago. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, Don Stevens. And if you'd like to say thanks to Don, again, you're not going anywhere. We're still going to make you work this year. You understand that. Like, this is not it.
This is at least I haven't been told it's not, so I'm assuming it is.
866-4FAN for folks listening outside of Rochester, 585-866-4FAN for Don Stevens, who today announced that this will be his last season for Rochester Americans hockey. And at least you've been there for some low points we've discussed here, the years with Florida, say, for example. There's expectation this year, Don. Playoff team last year ended in Laval, and again, every year is different. But at least there is optimism here for this Amherst team.
Yeah, that was disappointing finish last year. I thought we'd do better, go a little further last year. So yeah, definitely disappointment. But then, so it's come in basically 3 chunks for me in the time I've been here. My first 14 years, we were in the finals 8 times. We won it once only, but during that time period. But I mean, the championship series 8 times out of 14 years, which is just phenomenal. And then we went to the next section of my time here was just miserable. It was not good. We we just didn't do well, and the fans didn't like us, and rightfully so. And now since Pagulas have taken over, it's been back to the top. It just gets better and better every year. Just tremendous management and ownership in this organization right now. So it's gone good, not so good, back to good.
Yeah, and in 40 years, not too many people, Don, stay in one place. Do you view this as a blessing? Because I'm sure when you get into this, like, hey, I'm going to be in the National Hockey League, but you have a whole community that grew up with you here.
Yeah, people say, yeah, you're famous. I say, yeah, in a 40-mile radius. But yeah, it certainly has been. I didn't plan on being here very long. I had figured I'd be here 2 years, and I supposedly was making the move after 2 years, but it just didn't work out. So it's turned out to be, I think, somebody up there was looking out for my well-being, and it put me into a place where it's turned out that I don't know that I could have ever, if I had chosen it, what I've done, I could have ever had it turn out better than it has in my time here.
We've got a special guest who's spent not all of your career, but a lot of your career. Nathan Page is on the phone. You want to talk to him?
Pager, what are you doing?
Hey, Don. How's it going? Congrats. I'm here with a couple of your friends with Apps and Willie.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Donnie, Seth Appert here. How are you, friend?
Apps, so good to see you. I see you on TV all the time, and every hair is still in place.
Well, I'm trying to keep up with you.
Hey, you know what? We miss you guys.
We got Willie here with us, too. He had a lot. He didn't like that you said there were some miserable years because he was worried that you were referring to his years in Rochester with you, so he's got a little bone to pick with you.
Well, we put up with Willie. Of course, no, he was one of the all-time greats. He and Benny followed him, and you know what? We've had some of the best the absolute best equipment guys in this organization. They've all just been absolute, and they treat me so well. And Willie certainly was one of them that I will always remember. Such a blessing for a tough job that we do. He made it so much easier for me.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Well, we are certainly. I can speak on behalf of myself how grateful I was for my years with you. To get the opportunity to come and work for a franchise like Rochester and be with a legend like yourself. So many great memories, so many great calls, some of our playoff wins and our runs. Just I'll always cherish the time we had together. I'm really grateful for the years we had, friend.
Well, you were a very special coach here, and like I said, we miss you. And Pager, you haven't got me off the bus yet. Getting close, though.
Yeah, one more year. I think this is year 23 of us since the first time we've gotten the bus together.
Yeah, I know it's been a while, all right, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're Rochesterians. They adopted us, and I couldn't be happier to be that long with you as well.
So good to hear from you guys. I really appreciate the call.
You bet. Well, congratulations. I know you got 1 year left, so we're not going to say goodbye yet, but we did want to call in and just say congrats on the announcement today, and what a run it's been. And let's end it with the Calder Cup.
I'm all in favor of that. And by the way, next time you're in town at a game, how about stopping by and saying hi? All right.
Absolutely, I promise.
Okay.
Seth, thank you very much. Thanks to Paysure as well. That's cool. 585-866-4FN, 866-4326. If you would like to congratulate, you don't have to have played for the Amerks or coach the Amerks. Anybody that wants to call in and just say thanks, because you entertained us. And the one game for Appert when he was the head coach, Don, is okay. I'm at one of my kids' events. It's a elimination game. The Amerks are losing in Syracuse, and then I go out to my car. I'm like, wait a second, what? And then all of a sudden I can't, wait, they tied it? How? Like those types of games. What are some of your more memorable calls? We played the Calder Cup one from 97. What are some of your more memorable calls here in Rochester?
So I've told the story a couple of times today about I was in Salt Lake in the International League, and when I had said that I was going to come to Rochester, there was a couple of people who said, well, you don't want to go there. It's a hatchet league. They're just a bunch of goons. They don't have any talented hockey players. So I came here, and my first game, was against I think they were the Whalers at the time, the Binghamton Whalers, was it?
Yep.
And at the end of the game, Shane Churla went up on the stage after some of our fans, and I'm thinking, they were right. What did I get into here? But no, it's just been such a blessing being here. Such a blessing.
That's when the Blue Cross Arena, formerly the War Memorial, had the stage.
The stage,
that's right.
yeah.
I remember that, Don. What's next for you? Like, for so many athletes, that's always a storyline. Like, when you retire, what's next? Have you given any thought to your days after being the voice of the Amherst?
No.
Awesome. That's actually probably great.
No. No, I don't. I get asked that question all the time. I don't have any idea. I don't know what retirement is going to be like. I guess I'll find that out in a year. And so, no, I don't know. The only thing is, I've known a lot of people retired, and it seems like they all say, well, I'm busier now that I'm retired than I was when I was actually working in that. So we'll see if that happens in my case. I don't know. As far as I know, my recliner and I are going to become even better friends.
Well, I know you like watching golf. So you got the Ryder Cup on. I know you it's like woodworking. I mean, there's that.
I did build a woodworking shop in my basement, which I haven't done much of lately. So maybe I'll get back to that.
And then you do have Mossbrooks too.
Who?
He's still around, right? I would say. Or
that's that pain in my side back here. Yeah, that thorn in my. Yeah, no, he's certainly been a great addition, and thank God for him taking the longer bus rides.
The Amherst opening up. I can't wrap my mind around this, Don. It's 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks. You believe that?
Yeah. So, have you been up to Buffalo camp for the Amherst opening up on Monday? What's kind of the early kind of thoughts here on the season ahead?
I've been watching golf and a couple of movies on Netflix. No, I was going to go up for the prospects, and then my car decided that it needed a lot of work, so I didn't go. I haven't seen it being up yet. I've been watching the games, the preseason games, and that. So, but other than that, I really haven't been doing much. I'm finishing out. It seems like I've got 2 seasons, hockey season, and that's followed by medical procedures season. So I'm getting through all of my list of the doctor's visits and that I've got to go through each off season.
Yeah, one more question for me and Timmy and others and anybody else that wants to join in at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. I know you said, hey, I'm haven't figured out what's beyond this year, but you staying in Rochester? Okay. That's good.
Yeah. No, it's my home. The longest I had ever lived anywhere in my life was 7 years until I came here, and now it's going to be 40 years. So, and my son is here, my daughter's here, and their kids, and that. My oldest son is back out in Washington State. Oh, my kids were born in Seattle, so we're all Westerners, but this really has become home, and I have no desire, I guess, to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're going to have Schneider again as a producer.
Oh, I am so thankful. I am really so thankful.
I was trying to tee you up to make fun of him.
No, but I can't. He's been the absolute best I've ever had to work with in all these years, and I really do appreciate him getting us on the air and keeping us on the air night after night, and I never get a chance to say it or whatever, but he's been such a special person for me.
It's kind of where I was going. I'm not a very emotional person at all. The last year and a half has been a little crazy. Being able to do this with you, doing this for a decade. We've known each other in a working relationship for 10 years. You've known me for only 10 years. I've known you for all 37 of mine. Like, I remember sitting in my living room listening to the Spangler Cup with Kevin Weeks as the goalie when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
To be able to grow up, like, I'm in this building right now, but because of the two of you guys, and you've sculpted tons of people my age, older, younger. I know Warren for sure as well. The amount of good that you've done for this community, probably without even realizing it. Like, there is a lot of sacrifice that goes into this. We have a dream job. We're doing everything that we've loved to do for our entire lives, and you're part of why I'm here. The sacrifices that we make to be able to have this dream. You've been an integral part to everybody in this community, and maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, because at the end of the day, we're just doing a job, and we don't take compliments very well. But like you just did to me, and as I'm doing to you, this has been an incredible 10 years, and this next one's going to be the best. And I thank you for being a part and being so thankful for the work that I do for you.
I'm not going to kiss you.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I'm so thankful that you're going to be around again. No, I really appreciate it. You're a special person.
If you love Amherst hockey, you love our city. Kudos whoever put that video together, Don. Did you have final?
Andrew, Jackie,
yeah.
they're not here.
They're not here. Okay.
Just about all the rest of the offices here. We've got Nick, and we got Oshkosh, and we got Jesse James, and we got Warren, and I don't know their names.
There's some
no,
fun things.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I do know their names, but I've given them each a label. But anyway.
Did you get final say in that edit there, Don? How did you think it came out there?
It was one take.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think, Warren, it wasn't edited at all, was it? Well, there was additions. Yeah. There was videos and there was pictures that were put in and that. But
delivery was all raw and authentic, but yeah.
But no, it was basically that was it from start to finish. So
yeah, that's and all the people too. Like you forget that you were like, my gosh, Bednarski in that video, like Rich Funky,
yeah.
Like how many guys you've worked with over the years here, Don, as
Gene
well.
Battaglia.
One game.
You've been around more than that.
No, I only did one game with you.
Is that it?
That's it, yeah. Like it was because there was some snowstorm and Duffer couldn't get in.
Oh.
So Warren called me up at 4. Hey, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, Don, I'm in, buddy.
Actually, I do remember that game too. We got along. We had a good time at it. I thought you'd done more than the one. I guess that was how bad. That's good. How good it was. Yeah.
Team yourself up.
Yeah, Don, I was like that video though. That did choke me up. Anybody that sees it, you're acknowledging that, hey, there might be something off the fastball. This is the time for me to go away. But you also get the sense that this is something you love. This is the franchise you love. This is the community you love. How do you balance the two, knowing, okay, this is time. I set a standard. This is not the standard. Versus, I know this is going to hurt, some nights when I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm just figuring it out as I go. I just and what a phenomenal response today. Jess, who is the one responsible for putting all of this stuff out on everywhere from YouTube to Facebook to it's not Twitter anymore, X or all the different places. Jess over here, so what a great job she's done in putting all this out. She tells me that so far today and 5 hours or whatever, there's been over 50,000 hits on that video.
Wow.
That's just.
Well, okay, just two platforms. So Don, there's going to be more than that.
Well,
when it's all
that's
said and
just
done.
and how I'm going to figure it out, I don't know, because I don't feel like I did anything. It's like when I went into the Hall of Fame, I said, well, I shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I should just be in the Hall of Longevity, because all I'm doing is the guys on the ice are doing the job. They're presenting the picture. All I'm doing is just repeating what I'm seeing. That's what I've done for all these years. So anyway, it's just mind-boggling, the reception today. So how I put it all together, time will tell. Maybe 10 years from now, I'll still be trying to figure out how to put it together.
Greg writing in, you can write to us on X, our handle, The Fan Rochester. Damn these spicy nachos for making my eyes water during the Don Stevens phone call with Coach Apps. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Don, I asked this question a lot, but I don't think I ever asked you this question. Why is the hockey community so close-knit, like the way it is as compared to, say, other sports? Do you have any theory on that? Because for hockey players or broadcasters or coaches or whatever it is, once you're in this community, it really does have that I'm going to give you my shirt off your back kind of feel to it.
It's all, the foundation is the Canadian players. No, I'm kidding. But certainly, I don't know, it's maybe the diversity where people have come together. And we get a lot of young kids in here that are just turning from teenagers, high schoolers and that, into professional athletes. All of a sudden, they've had to grow up. So you get a few kind people. I mean, there's been there's been some around that I haven't gotten along with very well, and there's been some real beep beep type of players and coaches. Well, players I can only count 3 that I didn't get along with in all these years of thousands of players, and only a couple of coaches that I didn't get along with. And so for the most part, 99.97% of the people have just been fabulous, and that'll be the part that I'll miss the most.
And again, that's a testament to you. Like, not everybody has that relationship with the team, the organization.
To pay him or something today?
I'm just here to tell the truth, I guess.
No, I appreciate it.
That's part of your existence, though. You are a likable person, and that allows for people to have positive relationships with you. You don't dislike people because you're a good person, and these people that you've surrounded yourself with also realize that out of you.
Are you guys recording this? Yeah. Are you getting all of this? Remember it in our next office meeting, will you please? Yeah.
Don, season ahead, Coach Leone, next Friday night, the Marlies. We talked about this at the top of the broadcast, but it's also 70 years here they're celebrating for the franchise. This is going to be kind of a fun time. And no, you weren't here for all 7 decades, though.
Yeah, a lot of people think I was. Yeah. I wonder about, I was talking about the response today. So I often wonder, is this response coming because they like so much what I've done, or is because, thank God, finally he's on his way out the door to get it over with? But anyway, yeah, it's a special year, 70 years, and only the second team in the American Hockey League to have gone this long and this deep into the franchise history of the American Hockey League. Hershey, of course, being the top team, and so that we're playing Hershey a couple more times this year, which is great. So it's a special year. The organization has put together, I think, some speaking of special, some very special nights. There's going to be a lot of great things happening this season. So we hope you'll all come out and that we are able to put on a good show for you and give all of the fans a great season.
Don, I don't know what to say other than thank you. Like, you are like Rochester through and through, and it's not a goodbye. We got a whole year ahead of us here, buddy. You know, it's.
Yeah, well, the way things have gone, a blink of the eye and it'll be the last game of the season. So that's the thing. I just got to slow down and enjoy every minute of it because it just goes by so fast.
I do love your sense of humor. There's dry sense of humor, and then there's your brand of sense of humor. Where do you get it from?
I thought it was obnouges, but dry works. Dry works out well. Yeah.
What'd you say? Sandpaper? Dry? Yeah.
We have some great times on our phone calls, and thank goodness most of them don't go on. Sometimes they go on the air.
They can't hear me. They can only hear you. So I'm safe on this side. Yeah, I'm grateful for that too.
Tim, have you ever dumped Don Stevens?
No.
But
only person I've ever dumped is you.
That's true. Yeah.
I'd swear there's times when I don't think I'm on the air and he slips the switch on. He puts it on and somebody have to get, hey, did you really say that? No, I wasn't on the air. Oh, yeah, you were.
Well, Don, it's been a busy day for you. I'm sure you've got messages and everything to get back to here. So, and then 2 weeks from tonight, you're back on our air here.
2 weeks, wow. You know, The other thing, along with Timmy being such a great part of what's gone on, this organization, this radio station, has been the most consistent since I've been here in 40 years, and we're just here year after year with great service, and the fans know where they can go to get Rochester Americans hockey on a broadcast night after night, and so to just appreciate so much what this station, this organization has done. Also, you and Danger, who today is on his 7th vacation of the year, and just so appreciate all that you guys have done for us.
Yeah, like we got to fine him or something, right? Like they can't be missing this, right?
He'd never show up to pay the fine anyway, so what's the difference, right?
Don Stevens coming up. Don't wish time away, folks. We love fall and everything, but hockey is 2 weeks away here in the Flower City. Coming up Friday night against the Marlies, Blue Cross Arena. And Don Stevens will be on the call beginning year number 40, final year for you as the voice of the Rochester Americans. Don, this has been a thrill. It's going to be a fun ride here, bud.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
We will take a break. If you've got responses to this, our handle, The Fan Rochester, you can write to us in the comment section on YouTube as well. Phone number 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Some Bills talk coming up next. My name is Gene Battaglia. Tim Schneider. Appreciate everything Don Stevens has done for us here on The Fan.
Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. WROC AM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, both out for the Bills-Saints game. Really no surprise. They didn't practice this week. On the Friday injury report, Spencer Brown and A.J. Epineza both listed as questionable. Head coach Sean McDermott talking about that Saints defense.
Well, they've got a good front, like you mentioned, so we've got to make sure we're doing a good job. The game always starts up front with the line of scrimmage and establishing the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, so that'll be key for us this Sunday.
McDermott on WGR this morning. Our coverage Sunday will begin at 9 a.m. here on The Fan Rochester. Don Stevens has called it a career. Almost. This upcoming season will be his final one as announcer of the Rochester Americans' 40th year with the team. Ryder Cup Day 1, Europe is leading 3-1 after the morning sessions. Yankees tonight hosting the Orioles. Yankees and Jays tied for dead even for first place in the division. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Wow, that was something, was it not? If you have spent any time in the last 40 years in Rochester, you probably know the name Don Stevens if you're a sports fan. Welcome back. Don coming into the studio. That was fantastic. Don getting choked up talking about you, Tim.
Yeah, that was a unexpected treat. Like that validates everything I've ever done to be in this chair in this room. Like to have that kind of accolade from that kind of person who had the career that he did, acknowledging me within that career feels really good. Like I can go home right now and like that's a resume builder. That was awesome.
I'm not getting choked up over you, Tim.
Not yet.
Like,
no, that felt really. I don't feel feelings very often, so
that's a quote.
That took a lot out of me. So
I don't feel feelings.
It's a lot easier not to feel. I've learned, but turns out I might not be an alien after all. So
and Tim Schneider's heart grew 10 times more. That's the voice of Terrible Take Timmy. Mike Danger is out today. Chris in South Central Kentucky pointing out, yep, happened again. Danger's out. We had news. Yeah, we teased this yesterday. We knew Dom was going to be coming in. We knew the announcement was coming. And if you listen to Amherst Hockey, this feels like the right time for Don to step off. 70th year, 40th with the franchise. Good round even numbers, and maybe it ends up in a Calder Cup. I don't know. So hard and difficult to handicap any minor league sport, much less minor league hockey. So for Don, that's going to be a fun ride that begins 2 weeks from tonight. Our phone number 866-4FAN, 866-4326. You can write to us. Many have, and we were taking calls off the air, and this is the thing too. I recognize this when we do giveaways, Tim. We don't have anything to give away, sorry, today. But when people call in, they might call in, we'll do it, and they'll call in 15, 20 minutes after. In this day and age, people online listening to the Odyssey app, you can start the show whenever. If you're not listening in real time, okay, this is still the benefit of, doing live local radio is that we're doing everything here in real time. But in case you missed it, you can go back. And if you're like, oh, I missed Don, I really wish, you would have loved to hear what he had to say. Apparently did another interview that just, talked about soda today.
Hey, whatever you're into.
Whatever. That wasn't Don. That was the host, whatever. But I like the job we did with Don. If you missed it, give Don a call. Not about, I got a note last night. And again, I'm not one to just say, hey, look at us here. But this was from Brian from yesterday's show. I enjoyed that Bobby Bear interview today so much. You do such a great job of asking a good question and getting out of the way. That Cajun Ken is something else. He was so good with all his info. Gene, that was a masterclass in how to interview. You guys both knew dates and situations, really painted a picture. Nice job. Brian, that is high praise, and I appreciate you listening here to the show. That was an interview, Tim, where, Brian, you're saying I knew to get out of the way. I asked a question, and I looked at my watch, 5 minutes. And you know what? He wasn't rambling. It was just that deep. And it's a different culture, too. Bobby Hebert down. Okay, that's a Louisiana man through and through.
That was an awesome interview yesterday. It was so good that you don't know this because we didn't have to have it come to fruition, but if we didn't get Andy Behrens on in the 5 o'clock hour, I was going to veto whatever idea you had, and I was going to replay that. So that's how well that went.
Oh, okay. That's yeah. Andy was running a little late, and we are kind of on standby for Damon Amendolara because he's going through airport security. So who knows how long that can take? Tim, this day and age, you don't have to take your shoes off, but I always get dinged because I bring my contact solution. I mean, I don't want to pay the throwaway contact solution when I'm coming through. I want to bring it back, and then they got to do the test, whatever. No big deal. But
I hate flying. I just flew. I don't know any of the rules, and both in and out, I got dinged for. I had a soda on me because that slipped my mind. I had lotion that I didn't even realize was not allowed.
Yeah.
I had a computer that apparently wasn't stored correctly. I was a walking red flag in both airports, I guess.
Interesting.
Not a flyer. I hate flying. It makes me sick.
Did not know that.
Not physically, just it hurts like my ears and
stuff.
Oh,
okay. So
not a fan of it. If I can drive, I'm driving.
Okay, so not a fear of flying.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't scare me. It just makes me incredibly uncomfortable in my own body.
Yeah, it's normal, Tim. It's not normal to go in and sit in a little tube and you're not going to move for 2.5 hours or whatever it is. And it all depends on the length. If like these people that get on the flight for 17 hours going over to Australia or whatever it is, that's a chore. That's something. And granted, I want to go see the world here at some point, but I'm sure you do too. But you're gonna have to get over that if you want to.
Maybe we'll just go on a road trip to New Orleans instead of fly. I got to cross that off now, especially after the interview yesterday.
Week 4 of the NFL season began last night. Seahawks over the Cardinals. I guess the takeaways from this game, Cardinals, like those Nike uniforms, I think they're better than the actual uniforms that Arizona wears. That feels like, oh, wait a second. That actually looks like a team that might be playing in the desert. Those end zones.
I hated them.
What?
I hated them.
What?
The end zones were cool. The jerseys stunk. The jerseys looked like they had mud all over them or like a tortilla shell. And the midfield logo looked like it was sunburnt. I did not like it at all. I'm surprised that you did.
All right. Well, I'm going to reserve judgment.
Hot jersey talk.
Well, it's fine. This is where we're at on what the Bills are going to wear. We've seen the photos here for what do they call it? The chill or whatever. Whatever. The white uniforms with the silver coming up here at Highmark against the Patriots. The Bills are going traditional this week. Good for them. No blue pants. Blue jerseys, white pants, the white helmets. We're only going to get the one game, Tim. They would have to go with the white pants, right? It would have to look throwback-ish. Red helmet, blue jerseys, white pants.
Whatever they're wearing, they're probably winning. So put it on, go out there, dominate, and pick up a W.
There we go. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. And look, if you're like, hey, I wanted to give my thoughts on Don, by all means, you can do that. You can hit us up on X. Lots of people watching today on YouTube and Twitch. The other thing to come out of that game, look, mind you, I don't watch the pregame and postgame on Amazon, but others do. And one of the stories in the NFL this week, hey, Russell Wilson got benched with the Giants. Now, we can all acknowledge that this was a sooner or later proposition, right? You don't draft a quarterback in the first round unless it's somebody special like Patrick Mahomes and you determine that's the best course to develop. And Alex Smith was still a quarterback that got things done. Alex Smith went to Washington. He got paid after leaving Kansas City that year. Alex Smith got the Chiefs to the postseason. it was kind of a ballsy move to draft Patrick Mahomes when you had a quarterback like Alex Smith. But, credit to the Chiefs for seeing that. I'm just pointing this out because when Russell Wilson went to the Giants, nobody is thinking that Jackson Dart is going to be on the bench for the whole season. So with Wilson performing so badly, okay, it's time. And there's been some contrarian points of view saying that, and we heard the clip yesterday from Dexter Lawrence that, literally before he answers the question, he shrugs his shoulders like, I'm not excited about this. That's the vibe he gave off. Tony Gonzalez, Richard Sherman talking. Do we have this clip, Tim, from last night?
Let me look.
Dan DeLorean. I thought
there it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
there it is. Okay, so this was these two gentlemen. Now, I think part of what ails sports broadcasting is when these athletes leave the game, everything's great. I'm not going to say anything negative. We have a code here. This is not that. This is Tony Gonzalez and Richard Sherman discussing Russell Wilson.
Do you think we've seen the last of Russell Wilson?
Honestly, I hope we have. And I say that because I just looking at him and his career, his legacy, like you talked about, if ever there was somebody who played himself out of a Hall of Fame, it's Russell Wilson.
Really?
And I say that because look at what's happened ever since he left Seattle. When he was in Seattle, he was the man. He was making these good plays. He won a Super Bowl, went to 2 of them. But as soon as he left there, he went to Denver, signed that big old deal. They paid him $39 million to leave. He goes to Pittsburgh, plays there 1 year. He's out of there. Now he goes here and has 3 games. I just don't know if it's going to get any better, and I don't want to see him on a sideline holding a clipboard.
So you're very much under the what have you done for me lately thing in taking away the first, decade of his career.
Absolutely, and I just don't think he's done himself any favors since he left Seattle, and I don't know, how's it going to get better? I don't know. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. I think you got to judge his career off when the Legion of Boom was there. He had a legendary defense, an all-time defense, and how much success he had. And then without that legendary defense, the success he had. Without that legendary defense, he's been 4-11, 7-8, 0-3 to start with the Giants. He was a winning football player in Seattle, and people said, hey, winning is football player, all this good stuff, all these accolades, and now you get to go on your own and you get to prove, hey, I'm this great quarterback. I'm this guy that's going to be dominant, and it just hasn't worked out that way.
That last voice was Richard Sherman, former teammate on the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, their only one. And for him to have the numbers like that at the ready, 4-11, 7-8, 0-3, what he's saying there is, we won the Super Bowl because of me and the Legion of Boom, and in spite of that guy over there. And if you remember that Super Bowl against the Broncos, it was just a turnover fest. It was like an old-fashioned, hey, we're the AFC team that doesn't belong here sort of feel to it. The Broncos just turning the ball over. In fact, I think the first points of the game were a safety by Seattle. The MVP was a lot. I should know this off the top of my head. It was a defensive player for Seattle. Tim, you don't get former teammates being that way, but this fits the storyline. Hey, it's Russell Wilson. We perceive him as a me-first guy, but to hear, Richard Sherman lay it out like that, and, to a lesser degree, Tony Gonzalez, that kind of verifies it.
Yeah, I don't know Russell Wilson personally, obviously, but he's kind of presented himself in a public setting in a way that he's kind of corny and a weirdo. And for somebody who actually does know him very well to basically confirm that was interesting, to say the very least. To have, again, he kind of made it about himself, but it was factual. Like, he was right. Russell Wilson, without that incredible defense, is probably just average. He had a fine career. He was successful, but he was a byproduct of the success around him and not necessarily the reason for the success that Seattle had.
And yes, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
he's
not even close.
He's going to fall into that category of good career, but I think the way I look at it, the barometer should be this, Tim. If you are really a Hall of Famer, you are going to make note of when you go to the game, oh, hey, we're going to see. Now, I'm not sure if Alvin Kamara will get there, but if Alvin Kamara somehow gets 2-3 more years and over a decade, Alvin Kamara might be a Hall of Famer. But that's barely you're not going to the game thinking, oh, okay, this is the last time we get to see a future Hall of Famer in Alvin Kamara. Russell Wilson doesn't have that feel. When he came in, And that's the wild thing. Who was the last quarterback to beat the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park in the regular season? It was Russell Wilson.
That was the field goal game, if I recall.
Yeah, the 12 men on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So they didn't, again, like he didn't even do that. Like, sure, he was the victorious quarterback, but that was a Bills beating the Bills game. Russell Wilson, not a winner. So good luck to him, and it's Jackson Dart time, for better or worse.
For better or for worse. And that's one of those games where, like, I have no idea what to expect. That's what makes it fun, right? I wish I could forecast and say, hey, the Giants, they're going to upset the Chargers. Good luck. Or I could say, this is going to go really horrible, but who wants to see that? You want to see the kid and at least make some plays this week. Here's a thought. Brian Dable, design some plays for Malik Neighbors. He didn't even try. And maybe it wasn't Dable. Maybe it was Russell Wilson just not doing that after turning the ball over against the Cowboys so much.
If you're not using your greatest offensive weapon, especially, you have to cater to a guy who's never played an NFL game before. You have to make it appeasing to him to succeed. I was at Justin Fields' first career game against Cleveland, and the Bears head coach, Matt Eberflus, did not adapt to anything. He left the Andy Dalton offense in there for Justin Fields, and he got swallowed whole by Myles Garrett. He got sacked 8 times. He was completely a deer in the headlights. If Dable doesn't have something to prepare for Jackson Dart, and he sets him behind the 8 ball to begin his career, that's a rough start, and Dexter Lawrence might actually have a point in not being all in on that.
Our phone number, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. One game that if you are not going to the Bills game, or maybe you're going to the Bills game, you'll catch the tail end of this. It's Chiefs and Ravens. That's a late afternoon game here coming up Sunday. And do we have a preference? What is better for Buffalo in this game? And my answer is no. Honestly, like whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. This is a great position. So often we're like, oh, this is better for the Bills if the Ravens win this game or the Chiefs win this game. To me, it does not matter. One thing that we will be monitoring is Kansas City's offense. This does not look, forget Super Bowl worthy. It doesn't look playoff worthy. Like Pacheco and Hunt, no, that's not working. Travis Kelce looks old. Here's a touchdown. No, it goes off my hands. Interception, Philadelphia play. But you could say that they've been without their 2 top weapons. One of them's coming back. Xavier Worthy coming back after the shoulder injury. Now, does this still affect him? You can be out there and still not healthy. That remains to be seen when Rice and Worthy come back. The Chiefs, I'm worried it's too strong a word, but I can forecast that this would be a team that, all right, they don't look right now. We may get to October. They're not looking right then. But if they hang around, they fart around, and, okay, we're going to do this a different way. The Chargers won the division. Who cares? We're going to go in as a wild card, and we're going to show you. We're going to win on the road. And it's a new challenge for this team after dominating this division. Tim, 2-part question: Do you see the Chiefs perhaps beginning to turn this around? Do you have a preference in terms of how you look at this for the Bills? Who would you want to win, Ravens or Chiefs? I understand you're a Browns fan. You always want the Ravens to lose forever and ever. But if you're looking this through the Bills lens, do you have a preference?
Yes, because they haven't played the Chiefs yet. So if the Chiefs win, it makes the Bills game against the Chiefs a little bit more important in terms of tiebreaker scenarios and possibilities. We have no idea what will happen between now and then, but a Chiefs loss now, already holding the tiebreaker over the Ravens, kind of makes it an uphill battle for the Chiefs, and the Ravens have already lost that battle against the Bills. So if the Ravens win, they maintain their pace. That's fine because the Bills have that tiebreaker. The Chiefs losing another game before actually playing the Bills makes it even more difficult for the Chiefs to climb that ladder. That said, the Bills 1 seed, I can't say lock because it's week 3, but Bills 1 seed, almost a certainty regardless of the outcome of this game. And if that means that the Chiefs are a wild card team and they have to go through Buffalo, this is what time better than now.
I am not going to say Bills lock in any sentence 1 seed. The Chargers are hanging around. The Chargers have had injury concerns. The Chargers haven't been there before, but can they win enough games, and could that actually be the race? And it's, the Bills and Chargers don't play one another. There's other news on this Friday, and gosh, Atlanta last week getting shut out at Carolina. 38-0. It was one of those games like you look up at the end because they're not paying it. Like, wait, what? You're kidding me. Like, okay. Well, would it surprise you that the Falcons are home this week against a team that made a championship game last season? And here we are today where the Falcons now are giving 2 points. There's the reason for this. It's going to be Marcus Mariota again at quarterback for Washington, and Terry McLaurin also not available. So it is a situation where maybe it's a little bit of load management, but the Marcus Mariota revenge game going back to Atlanta this week, Michael Penix looked like garbage. So that's Atlanta offense that I don't know what the heck happened last week.
Watching Penix is something definitely like you have to monitor that situation. If he's not developing appropriately or he needs to take a step back, it's tough to go back to Kirk Cousins because that's kind of waving the white flag on a guy that you just drafted. But if he shows that he's not capable, especially against a team that's putting out a backup quarterback, a backup receiver, and a running game that just hasn't struck gold yet, plus they lost Austin Eckler already. The Commanders are beat up. The Falcons are favored because of that. The Commanders could be in trouble, and it might begin this week. That said, the Falcons have to definitely rebound from a game that they looked absolutely horrid in against Carolina.
I'm going to throw the flag also here on Steve Wilks, the Jets defensive coordinator. And we were talking at the beginning of the segment how refreshing it is when you have former players who turn analysts who are actually going to tell you what's on their mind. Like, and when they're talking about Russell Wilson, they're not going to give a canned statement there. They're going to point out that just not good enough. Well, after beating the Jets last week, Baker Mayfield talked about, he called out Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks was the interim coach in Carolina, and we forget that Baker Mayfield was a Carolina Panther. Isn't that kind of weird to think about, that Carolina had a guy they could have built things around, except they were such a disaster under Matt Rule. They fire Rule, and it's not going well for Mayfield. And Mayfield wants out, but instead of just, okay, we're going to play you and showcase you, he gets benched behind P.J. Walker. Baker Mayfield demoted to third string with Steve Wilks. And pointing that out, you forget the whole history of this. And sure, it's motivation. You're not going to face this Jets team for another 4 years. Who knows where Wilks will be 4 years from now. And so Wilks, they ran this back to him. What do you think? Your former quarterback's calling you out. Tim, be the judge on this. This is Wilks to a reporter. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I'm sure you're quite educated on it. I don't really think an interim coach has that much authority over personnel. If that's the case, I would never have gotten rid of our best player, Christian McCaffrey. That's a pivot. Nobody is talking about trading Christian McCaffrey, okay? Unless you're saying indirectly that was the owner benching Baker Mayfield. Well, if that's the case, then just say it, okay? But he was on your roster. You make the call. Who is starting? Who is backing up? Who is third string? You did that. Unless that came from above, which you should say at this point, what? The Carolina owner's going to get mad at you? Come on.
I think that kind of was, without actually outwardly saying it, he kind of did say, I was just an interim guy. I had no choice in the matter. I think Baker is right to hold a grudge and prove everybody wrong, and the revenge tour that he's had since leaving Cleveland even has been incredible. Wilks has to kind of respond to that to cover himself, and I don't think that that's unfair to say, especially because Carolina was such a mess. Everybody involved in that organization at that time is better off by not being a part of it. So I think that that's fair for him to cover himself with it, but I also think that it would be a whole lot more refreshing if he just said, that wasn't me, that was somebody above me, which he kind of did without actually saying it.
Let's take a break. A DA, I'm hoping, is through airport security.
Let's find out.
Well, let's find out. Like, I can't call, they take your phone, you have to put in a little bin there and everything else. So maybe this time's out. Maybe it doesn't. Stick around and find out. We got time for your calls otherwise. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. You can write to us on X, our handle, The Fan Rochester. You can leave a comment. Hello to everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. My name is Gene Battaglia. Today with Tim Schneider here on The Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
Big news in Rochester today. Don Stevens announcing that this will be it for him. Stevens, earlier today, joining us on the Fan Rochester, season number 40 will be his final. At Oliver, Matt Milano, both out for the Bills against the Saints. On the Friday injury report, Spencer Brown and A.J. Epineza are both listed as questionable. Keon Coleman says the plan Sunday is simple.
This is an offensive game. Like, we got to execute on our end, and that's pretty much that. We don't feel like we be getting beat that way. And the only way we get beat is if we beat ourselves. So just handling what we handle, executing, honing in on the details, and, go from there.
Coverage will begin Sunday, 9 a.m. here on The Fan. Ryder Cup Day 1, Europe leading 3-1 after the morning sessions. Yankees and Blue Jays tied atop the AL East. Yankees tonight taking on the O's, the Jays taking on the Rays. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, The Fan Rochester.
Top Chef Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
It does feel a little overload here. Welcome back to the sports bar. Tomorrow, college football, fantastic lineup. You've got the NFL week 4 coming to the peak. We've got baseball, which we'll get to in a little bit. You've got the Ryder Cup going on. I feel like, some people, judging by my timeline, really, really into this event. And you're much more into this than I am, Tim.
I thought that I would just kind of casually watch it. I found myself, for absolutely no reason, awake right at tea time. And instead of just falling back asleep, I actually grabbed myself some breakfast and sat down and watched Team USA struggle mightily those first 4 hours.
Yeah, can't putt.
Almost got swept in the opening foursomes there. They were able to salvage the last one. Right now it's going on, and it looks like it's, again, going Team Europe's way. But whole lot of ball left, but it's been fun to watch. I can't watch it in depth here, but all afternoon I was able to watch it and enjoy it, and unfortunately it's not going the way that we are hoping.
Yeah, so in the 4-ball, of the 4 pairings right now, Europe's up in 2 of the 4, U.S. is up in the other, and there's one that's just dead tied right now. That being with Tommy Fleetwood going against DeChambeau there in one of those matchups. Our number 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Damon Amendolara, just like A.J. Epineza and Spencer Brown, questionable here for us here because, airports.
Showtime decision.
Yeah, showtime decision. So while we're waiting for DA or not, we do have this final weekend of baseball. Feels like the Yankees are winning that division.
It does, and it's weird how crazy baseball is. Like we've been in here all week talking a little bit of baseball, and the results of the situation change our minds and our opinions almost every night. 3 days ago, the Blue Jays were in a prime position to wrap it up and be done with it, and now they might be playing as the 4 seed. And a week ago, that was unfathomable. 2 weeks ago, the Mariners and Guardians being involved in the playoffs, unfathomable. And the Yankees are primed now with 3 games to go to possibly be the 1 seed.
Yeah, the Yankees going from that'll be a fun series, Yankees and Red Sox, to, all right, the expectation for Yankee fans is, hey, we're going to get some extra rest here. And if you get that rest and you could set up Fried and Rodon and, you're looking ahead, and again, the brackets being what they are, you could, in theory, get Blue Jays Yankees then in the divisional series best of 5. And what I love about that is the natural bad blood that kind of came about, inadvertently when Kay, said the Jays weren't a first place team, and you've had these little jabs back and forth. And I think that's great for sports. We need more rivalries. We need more things like that. And, by the way, when that was going on, Canada, U.S., maybe the relations aren't great in the world. We saw that happen in the World Cup of Hockey. So that is one race we're watching. National League, it's not as interesting unless, you're hanging on as a Met fan or a Red fan. Reds lose 2 of 3 to the Pirates. The Mets hanging on by a game there, but if they end up tied in division, Arizona could go away with a loss tonight, so that would do everybody a favor if the Diamondbacks lost.
Yeah, the mediocre teams are kind of weeding themselves out. It happened there were like 8 or 9 teams alive in the NL to begin this week. The Giants are out, the Cardinals are out, the Marlins are out. The Diamondbacks likely out tonight, whether it be a Mets win, a Reds win, or a loss of their own. They've got 3 days to figure it out. They need to have a lot go their way. The Mets need to they've been holding on for 2 or 3 months now. At this point, to waste Juan Soto's first season there would be a huge loss. And there's no excuse to have the lineup that they do and not be one of the top 6 teams in the National League. And for them to be clawing and holding on as tight as possible with 3 days to go is crazy to me.
Yeah, so this is what they do Sunday, if you don't follow baseball closely. They're going to put essentially at the same time. Everything's going to go off in the 3 o'clock hour. Some of these games will start right at 3, some at 3:20, but they will all be in a window where if you are a team that hasn't locked things up and you're watching Ravens-Chiefs, you're also going to be looking at your phone, or maybe you're going to have multiple screens going. It's going to be a fantastic Sunday there, Tim, following your 1 o'clock Bills and Saints game. There's another baseball note that I find interesting. So this was 2021, and the Jays, they've had over the years pitchers that flash, and then all of a sudden they disappear. And one of those guys being Alek Manoah. Alek Manoah, coming up in 2021, and then in 2022, 16-7, 2.24 ERA. Like, okay, this guy looks like he looks like a right-handed version, basically, of CC Sabathia. Big guy, and he's going to be kind of the workhorse. But then, funny thing happens, and this happens to a lot of pitchers, that all of a sudden, whatever success you had kind of goes away in an offseason. And since that point, it's been a struggle. He was in Buffalo this year. And when he was back up to the Jays, you got to try to figure out, okay, do we keep him on the 40-man roster? The Jays had to make a decision, and they let him go. You normally don't see players cut like this right at the tail end of the season. Today, the Atlanta Braves claiming Manoah right off of waivers. And I think that's interesting to me, Tim, because get a new start. And wouldn't that be very Braves-like if they pick up somebody right off my gosh, I look at guys like Charlie Morton, Chris Sale being probably the biggest example where Sale was really good. Manoah never got to that Sale level of, hey, I'm a Cy Young Award winner, but certainly Manoah was a contender. Like he was, he finished third one year in ALCI voting, Young voting. So Manoah, just a reminder that, hey, the pitcher that's hot today, next year they may be completely down.
He came up before Paul Skeens was Paul Skeens. He had an unreal rookie season, and he parlayed that into a following season, his sophomore season, where he was a top 3 pitcher in the AL, and then the wheels fell off last year and this year. And for him to end up in Atlanta, maybe it is a reclamation project. He's still only 27. He turns 28 in the offseason. That's far from old. But for him to fall off so quickly and so steeply, maybe a change of scenery does him a lot of favors and he gets to where he used to be.
Hockey is right around the corner, and I whenever I say hockey, I'm completely mindful. I'm tuned in. When we first started here, Danger and I, we had a boss and he was from Buffalo, that would say the Sabres are on the same level as the Bills, and how do you tell your boss you're wrong? You just try to. And what I did was, since the boss didn't respect me, I said, hey, Steve, can you tell so-and-so? No. Like, Syracuse is ahead of the Sabres, but still couldn't believe it, right? And why was that? Well, that was his upbringing, and he's looking through that prism. And I'm mindful that a lot of people in our town, they like hockey when football ends, or they just don't like hockey at all, okay? But this is a story, Tim. A big story.
An unfortunate one, yeah.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Barkov, Alexander Barkov, captain of the Florida Panthers. That is a torn ACL. Season is done. Florida trying to three-peat here. That is as big a blow to any team here entering the season. I hate that, actually. I hate that. You never want to root for injury or anything like that. You want to be somebody fair and square. But now Barkov out for the year. The Chuck won't be ready until 2026. If this Panthers team gets to the postseason, Tim, I think that would just be kind of noteworthy in itself.
Yeah, I think they're still good enough to be one of the teams in the East to get through to the playoffs, but to expect a three-peat, which were the expectations a month ago, I think those have drastically changed, and it's a bummer because he's a really talented player. He's their captain. He's a leader. Kachuk out for a long time as well. They've got an uphill battle to start their season, and it's only September, and the expectations have already changed pretty bad.
Do you know Jamie Benn's in his 17th year? I heard that. I'm like, no, that can't be.
It's crazy to me that these people
what?
are like half of their lives spent in the National League, and they're still young-ish. Like Brent Burns still going. Like, yeah, there's a lot of guys like
wait
that.
A second, and the fact that he's been so Ben is 36. You're making it a point, you being 37. Like,
right.
Hey, that's young. That's very, very young. I hear you on that. Ben has a collapsed lung. He's had surgery today, and, well, yeah, you're not going to see him for a little bit there. Hockey's so long. Like, to me, the NHL season of them all, people can make the argument for baseball. I would listen to that, or the NBA, but the idea that hockey's postseason is such a different brand as compared to what you're watching in the regular season, because the regular season is so long, these guys can't play at that level. It's so physically demanding, and when you get to the postseason, it's all or nothing, and then every shift, is all on, full out. But the Stars will be fine here. Like, if there's anything that for the Sabres, could they move out, to the Western Conference perhaps? Because so many of these teams, Dallas will be just okay.
Yeah, Dallas will be fine. They still have a supremely talented roster. They're a Stanley Cup contender even without Ben, whose role has kind of changed over the years as he gets a little bit older. The National Hockey League, playing every other day at that level, is so strenuous on the body, and hockey players ride themselves into the ground from October to June if they are so fortunate to be not the Buffalo Sabres. It's a crazy way. The baseball you play every day, it's not as taxing on the body. NBA, they load manage so ridiculously that it's almost like they're playing 3/4 of the season anyway. Hockey, every single night, balls to the wall, playing injured, playing hurt, and the only thing that stops people is literally the inability to get out there because your lungs are collapsed.
We've got our first game in Europe. We'll talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little NFL when we come back. Not just the Bills, but some of the other storylines happening around the National Football League. Our number is 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Maybe DA gets through security, maybe not. He's going to be in Buffalo tomorrow. We'll tell you about that appearance as well. My name is Gene Battaglia. Danger will be back on Monday. Tim Schneider along also this week, doing a great job here on the Fan Rochester.
No matter where you are, with the Odyssey app and the sports leader, The Fan, Rochester.
Good arm talent, mobile. Seems like he has good command of their offense, and they're doing some things. They do some no huddle, or quite a bit of no huddle, where that's where we're going to need our fan base when they're trying to, hey, get up there, look at our defensive look, undress us. You know, we need our fan base to make it really hard for them to communicate, and they're getting a lot of the calls from the sideline into him, and he's changing calls based on what they're telling him to do. So we've got to make sure our 12th man takes over in those situations.
That is head coach Sean McDermott. Welcome back to the Sports Bar, as it is going to be a party coming up on Sunday, 1 o'clock, Bills and Saints, and it is going to be, I've been saying all week, the last really nice weather 1 o'clock game at, we call it Old Highmark. He's the host of the Bill Maddock podcast, who is coming back into Western New York here for this game. Damon Amendola, who is through airport security. DA, how are you today?
I'm doing good, although I never would have expected this was such a tough ticket. You know, when we circled this in the off season, my buddies and I, because we wanted to go to a final game in the stadium, we said, okay, let's figure out a 1 o'clock because it works better for everybody's schedule. I got to get up early on a Monday morning. Prime times are really tough no matter what. So we decided, okay, 1 o'clock, Saints. I mean, who even knows who the Saints quarterback is going to be? You would have thought this is the AFC Championship game. We were waiting to just see if we can get connected with some tickets, buy them, what have you. Forget it. Tickets are through the roof. Nobody can get them. I got word that the Bills COO gave away his tickets before the season and realized today, oh, my God, I can't get my own. They're such in demand. So this is insane. I'm going to tell your listeners this. If there's a pair or two pairs and they would like to sit next to me for some odd reason, I will compensate fairly, and I will throw in a wristband to the best tailgate that I am hosting tomorrow or on Sunday. All you can eat, all you can drink, $75 value each bracelet. I will throw that in for each person that is coming along because it's hard to get tickets. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I think let somebody reach out to you on social media. We'll let you kind of filter through that offer there, DA. That is something. One thing that clicked in our mind, we were talking about just, all right, there's only two of these on the schedule, 1 o'clock, and you had the Buccaneers. Is that going to be nice weather or not? And then we just talked about, is this a game that, okay, I don't have tickets, maybe I'll just go tailgate. There are people that are going to do that, DA. People are going to go down. And so we're advising everybody that's driving in from Rochester, yeah, you know what? For this one, maybe give yourself a little more time. Before we talk about the event on Saturday, DA, like, do you have a plan for Sunday? Do you know where you and your crew are going to be hanging out there?
Yeah, I'm helping MC and host this incredible tailgate thrown by Game Day Buffalo, and they have a mechanical buffalo. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. They have live music, and you got to have a wristband to get in. So it's pretty epic. We did it last year. If anybody has seen my YouTube channel, we got some incredible footage, and so we're just going to do that again. I think the doors open up there at 10, and so you get about 3 hours worth of tailgating in there. And I guess you don't even have to go into the game if you don't want to. You can just buy the ticket or buy the wristband and go in there. But that's what I'm talking about. I'll throw in a wristband to that party because it's pretty epic. And, yeah, we went there last year and got in line at about 9:45 or so, and there's already some people in there. So I think you're right. I think if you're going to go and party on Sunday, get there early because it seems like with the weather that it's like and a 1 o'clock kick, everybody is just frothing to get out there and to have a good time.
Yeah, a little mini bye for the Bills. And when we last saw this team, and this is where the bar is set, you beat a divisional opponent by 10, but we're judging things through this lens. Okay, is that good enough when the time comes? And the answer, most of us defensively, no, that wasn't it. You couldn't get off the field on third down. So now that we've had more than a week to digest this, DA, was that more just, all right, it's a short week, it's a divisional opponent, you're a little shorthanded, or might this be something, in your opinion, that, all right, we really have to monitor closely here because there might not be an easy solution to this?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's what I stay consistent with what we talked about, you and I, last Friday here on the show, and that is the Dolphins were far more desperate. Mike McDaniel was probably partially coaching for his job, and if they would have gotten blown out, who knows if he would have also. Certainly the Dolphins knew that they were under the gun at 0-2, and they really had to after everybody was just crushing them throughout the week. And locally, Dolphins fans were so upset down in South Florida. They had to show up. So they were the hungrier team in some regards. There was certainly more on the line for them. And for the Bills, it is a short week, and it's hard to get up for a team that's 0-2 completely and play your best football game. So I'm going to give them a bit of a pass in some regards. At the same time, I do think no matter how you cut it, the Bills' defense has not been good enough this year. And we know what happened against Baltimore. It took a crazy comeback. We know that this game against the Dolphins was tied in the fourth quarter, and the Dolphins were again driving to tie it again before the Bernard interception. That's not good defensively. And against the Jets, there was a moment in that game in the second quarter where it was kind of a tight game, and thankfully the Bills made a couple of plays and forced a few fumbles on Justin Fields, which kind of flipped the script. But it wasn't like this defense has had 60 minutes of great football yet. Now it's 3 games. It's early. There's a lot of injuries to be had. Bose is working himself into the rotation. All those things are understandable. But I would say nobody in that defensive locker room or meeting should think that they have this thing solved. I think they should all be on edge because they should know that the first 3 weeks was not good enough.
Usually we'll take some calls or people write in and the anxiety starts to spike a little bit. Oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? I'm not hearing any scenario like for the Saints or so. Maybe that's a trap in itself, but DA, how do you see this game playing out Sunday?
Well, look, they're a 15.5 to 16-point favorite in just about every book for a reason. They are a superior team at every level, and if it was just a Josh Allen versus the other team's quarterback game, that's advantage 21 points for the Buffalo Bills. So it's just hard to envision a game that the Bills stub their toe and lose. At the same time, I just think overlooking the Saints, which would be normal because of the line, because of the records and all of that, is just always dangerous. Because at this point in time, even if it's a tight game like the Dolphins game was, that's kind of not what you need. You kind of need Josh Allen out of these games in the fourth quarter if you're far superior. And I know you got some extra rest, but you don't want to risk injury to anybody. And furthermore, really every one of these quote-unquote gimmies and layups are really important. I mean, at the end of the day on Sunday, the Bills have a chance to be 4-0 with a tiebreaker over the Ravens, and either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3. That is really significant as we close September. That's really best case scenario as well. And I texted some of my buddies. We're on a thread about this trip, and I said, okay, would you sign up today for AFC Championship game at home, Chargers coming in? And every single one of them said, that's the best case scenario right now. Absolutely, we'd sign up for that. And that's where we sit. So you cannot afford losses to gimmies and layups if that's the road and things are breaking your way. You never want to get ahead of yourself. But if there is some mysticism, and I'm trying to conjure that throughout this season via Bill Maddock, final year in the old stadium, and this is the window right now for Josh and this crew, boy, the heavens are starting to part a little bit when you look at the standings.
Oh, for sure. One question real quick here, DA. We've got this Ravens-Chiefs game, and you're looking through the Bills lens here. Do we care who wins this game at this point here in September?
Probably not, although I would say if the Chiefs win, it's probably a little bit worse just because you have the tiebreaker over the Ravens in hand. You kind of want the Ravens to win this game. Again, it's so early. There's so much football to be played. There's so much jockeying for position. But a 1-3 Ravens, that win isn't as valuable as it would be for a 2-2 Ravens who have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs by virtue of a win coming up on Sunday. So I think you root for the Ravens here. I think you also root for the Ravens in this regard. Putting nails in the Chiefs in any way, shape, and form is a good thing. Whether it's tiebreakers, whether it's losses, whether it's just trying to eliminate them from a playoff picture, you need that. And so I don't think any Bills fans necessarily scared of the Ravens. We've seen that matchup of the postseason before. We saw that in week number 1. Nothing is easy come January, but I think every loss that the Chiefs collect is a good thing for the Buffalo Bills and the rest of the AFC trying to get through them.
DA, you mentioned that Sunday Game Day Buffalo event. You're also going to be making an appearance on Saturday. Tell everybody what you got working there at Sandbaggers.
Yeah, honestly, if there's any Bills fans in attendance or listening right now that are going to make their way to Buffalo, or they're going to be in the area of Hamburg, there's this really cool sports bar that's just opened up Labor Day weekend. They're also a golf simulator called Sandbaggers. And they immediately jumped on my podcast, Bill Maddock, and said, we want to be a sponsor. We love what you've done on the pod, and also they've listened to me on Sirius XM. So I said, hey, I'd like to do a listener event. And they were like, we are all in. So they are opening up the doors for everybody coming up on Saturday, tomorrow. And for 2 hours, I'm paying the bill. We're hitting 2 years at Sirius XM on mornings, and we've had such a great response from Western New York, from upstate New York, from the corridor up there, of listeners, of callers. And I was just like, man, I just want to say thank you. So I'm going to try not to be bought out of house and home tomorrow, but for 2 hours, you can drink on me. It is one big party. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. So come on down. Sandbaggers in Hamburg from 4 to 6. I'm there with swag. I got T-shirts, and the tab is on me.
And for anybody that's going to head out, just please mention to DA, if you do meet him, that Rochester is in the house and well represented.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then I would assume, even though you're at the stadium, we're still going to get Bill Maddock Sunday night, correct?
Even better, we're going to get Bill Maddock immediately after the game from the tailgate. I'm going to go back to the tailgate after the game and do it, and I'll probably be a little loopy. There's probably going to be a number of blue lights in me, and that should be a really fun post game. I'll probably have a few characters along the way from the tailgate or who I attended the game with. So check it out on YouTube, on X, and on Instagram Live. We'll go live on all of those. However long it takes me to get back to the tailgate from the stadium. Let's hope I just got a party that's behind me that we're talking about, and it's not like, oh, my God, that didn't go so well. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty comfortable win, and we'll have a pretty good post-game show.
Yeah, I think you'll have a comfortable win, post-game show, and stories that we can kind of review when we talk to you next week. DA, looking forward to having you up in West New York. Hopefully we can kind of connect. Have a safe flight up. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. As always, hit me up on social for any of the listeners out there that want to connect about tomorrow or Sunday at Damon Amendo on either X or at Instagram.
Thanks, DA. Safe travels, bud.
All right, thank you.
As ready to get on a flight. We made it work, Tim.
We always make it work. We don't always know how we're going to do it, but we always find a way.
We always find a way. That's our motto here in the sports bar. Well, it's like anything else in life. We have a plan, and then the plan kind of moves and shifts. Boy, what a show. What a last 2 days here in the sports bar. Mike Danger who? He's going to come back like, hey, yeah, here's everything that happened, bud. Let's have you interact. And by the way, like, do us a solid. If you're going to go to his tailgate, you're going to go to his event on Saturday, just mention the sports bar. We love having DA on with us, and he brings a different perspective, certainly as a national radio show host, joining us here in Rochester. Our phone number, 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326, as a happy hour is on the way next here on The Fan.
You're listening to Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. WROC AM, WBEE HD2, Rochester. And streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan, Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, both will not play against the Saints on the Friday injury report. Spencer Brown and A.J. Epineza are both listed as questionable. Head coach Sean McDermott on the Saints defense.
Well, they've got a good front, like you mentioned, so we've got to make sure we're doing a good job. The game always starts up front with the line of scrimmage and establishing the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, so that'll be key for us this Sunday.
McDermott on WGR this morning. Our coverage Sunday will begin at 9 a.m. here on The Fan, Rochester. The voice of the Rochester Americans, Don Stevens. This will be your number 40th. It'll be his final as the voice of the Amerks today. Don announcing his retirement. Ryder Cup, the U.S. has just put one on the board. Europe still leads now 3-2. A lot of action still to come here. Yankees tonight taking on the Orioles. They're tied, the Yankees, with the Blue Jays in the AL East. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amerks. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
I think one thing we can kind of put to rest, golf is the gentleman's game, that we're all gentlemanly, and maybe this is the setting. Welcome back to the Sports Bar. A lot to get to. Gene Battaglia with you here on a Friday. Danger will be back on Monday. Terrible take Timmy alongside as we are watching the Ryder Cup. And Patrick Cantlay just missed a short putt that would have won him the hole, so they're still even with the group that Rory McIlroy is, and through 14. So that's one we're going to keep tabs on. We'll keep you updated. The point being that, okay, of all the events in golf, now you have the Phoenix Open, which, gosh, that is just like, it's like going to a football game. In fact, the one hole there, like the grandstands, like, okay, it's like you're walking into Athens, right? It's like, welcome. Yeah, it's a different atmosphere. But the Ryder Cup, you can go to all these great venues, Bethpage Black being one of them, and it's just so intense, and the gallery gets so into it like other sporting events. Are athletes allowed to respond? So this will come across your feed tonight that I have no idea what was said to Rory McIlroy, but there he is, and you're on live TV, and he is flipping the bird to a fan. Again, gentleman's game, you normally don't see this, and maybe it's the new Rory. Rory, when I forget, this is still the same calendar year. He finally wins the Masters. He's breaking down in tears. We're all in tears. Hey, okay, your marriage is saved. Everything's good for Rory. And then after that, he kind of turned heel a little bit. So with that, and Europe has just won another one, Fleetwood and Rose over Griffin and DeChambeau. So now it's Europe up 4-2 here, Tim.
4-2, Straka and Rahm just finished 3-2, so there's a lot happening. None of it very good for Team USA.
No, this morning they couldn't putt whatsoever. We'll get to the Bills here, certainly as it's a Friday. It's a Buffalo Bills Friday here in the Sports Bar. That was a little emotional. Don Stevens coming in today, and if you missed it, it's inside the Odyssey app back in the 3 o'clock hour. And thanks to everybody who wrote in to Don. I'm sure he'll see some of those comments. You're welcome to join us at any point. 866-4FAN, 866-4326 is our number. That's a difficult balance, right? And you just apply it to your own career, your own life, that if you're lucky enough to do something you love, it's not infinite. Even if, you love running your own business, there will get to be a time where, I physically can't do this anymore. And what would be the exit plan? And, specifically to Don Stevens, he says this himself in his goodbye video that for the standard he set for the greater part of his career, calling games for the Amerks, it's slipped a little bit here in the last few years. This is the right time for him. In my opinion, I don't care if you miss a goal call or something like that. You're done. You can do it as long as you like, in my opinion. But Don thinks otherwise. And, the thing about, when you retire, you get to call your own shot. So for Don, 40 years, this is the perfect time. He won't call every game. You'll hear a lot of Andrew, particularly when they're on the road this year. But certainly having Don in at 3 o'clock, you getting teary-eyed, Tim. I've never seen that.
It's been 2 hours, and I'm still not fully back. Like that took a lot out of me because it's nice to hear somebody that established, that credentialed, caring about the work that I've done for him really means a lot. And I watched the video, the announcement this morning. I was taken aback by it because I've worked with him for 10 years, and being able to call your shot, being able to dictate when you get to go on your own terms. If now is the time, that's fine. And Andrew Mossbrooks does a great job, and we're in good hands moving forward. But it's definitely the end of a very, very long and great era. But yeah, that got me when he got emotional talking about me. That was not something I was prepared for whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's not, these were my words, it's not Don. I think that time kind of plays tricks on your mind. Like when you're young, you're not thinking about any of that. You were just thinking, okay, on to the next thing. And then you realize, hey, there's only so much sand in the hourglass here. How do I make the most of my time and our time? And, for Don, 40 years goes by like that. And it sounds crazy to think that 40 years can go by like that. But on the other hand, I'm sure there are nights where like, oh gosh, I've got a bus ride and I'm not going to be getting home till 3 a.m. That's not enjoyable when you're a man in his 70s. So like for Don Stevens, this feels exactly like, the time to step off. So shameless plug, next 2 weeks from now, Friday, 2 weeks Friday, that'll be the opener for the Amerks, October the 10th. Getting ahead of myself there, Tim. October the 10th against the Toronto Marlies, and we're going to be your proud home for Rochester Americans hockey once again here on The Fan. We've got that from today. We've got some load management stuff for the Bills today. No surprise, Ed Oliver won't play. Matt Milano won't play. Spencer Brown, A.J. Epineza, both questionable. Hey, if Epineza's questionable, then let's see the kid. Let's see Landon Jackson. And the thing, let's push Maxwell Harrison to the side, right? All these other rookies that made the team have flashed. Like we have seen Deion Walker. We saw Jordan Hancock in the preseason. He's working his way back from injury. Dorian Strong. These are all guys that, like, okay, you could see a window to being contributors. Walker being, like, first and foremost, right? Or you could say, certainly T.J. Graham, right?
Even Jackson Hawes has flashed in the opportunities that he's had. He's
how
looked
can
incredible.
I not? Shame on me for not mentioning Hawes because I'm just thinking on one side of the ball there specifically. For Landon Jackson, he hasn't even dressed here. It's only 3 games. That's fine. Like A.J. Epineza, by the way, didn't dress. Like in his first game, people are going, what's wrong? He's a rookie. It's a talented roster. I want to see Landon Jackson. I think this is the perfect opportunity. Get him in here against the subdivision team. I can make enough jokes about the Saints. Saint fan, if you're a Saint fan, you got to know this too. Like at some point, like what's the plan here? What is the plan? Like, are we gonna just continue to just throw money and try to be who's the guy in the infomercial? I don't even think he's still with us. Do the duct tape against the
Billy Mays.
Thank you,
Billy Mays.
Yeah,
but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Billy Mays here.
Yeah, well, that's the Saints. They're like the infomercial of the NFL. Like, okay, you know what? We're gonna fix it here, but wait, there's more. We're gonna push the cap out. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a solution. We asked DA, and he's just downplaying this. Like, is there any anxiety for Bills fans this week? Normally, we would take the temperature just a little bit, and there is none. Yeah,
the only anxiety I would have is something horribly negative happening within the Bills lineup.
Stop.
That's the only anxiety.
Well, that's but that's not even anxiety. That's just life. I mean,
sure.
Yeah. So
that's the only thing that would give me pause as to otherwise think that this would be a destruction of the Saints.
I try to say in case something bad happened. You know that the way people think, Tim, they'll blame you.
I will shoulder that blame, but I'm not the one that caused it. I just said that it could happen.
We are fully aware that could happen.
And that would be a terrible time.
Yeah, that would be a terrible time. Packers could be down 3 offensive linemen against the Cowboys coming up Sunday night. Some of these games, one of the storylines, 1 o'clock Washington, Atlanta, that line is flipped. Now it's the Falcons coming off a shutout loss to crummy Carolina. Falcons at home favored 1-2 over 2-1 Washington. Why? No quarterback for Washington, and their top wide receiver will not be playing as well. To me, I would take Washington in the points on this one with Mariota going against Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta was just so bad last week. You could think of it that way. A good game that if you're a Bills fan, you're not going to see because it's going to be up at the same time. Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay has won some games cardiac style here last
all
3
three,
weeks.
yeah.
All 3 weeks, winning in the final minute. Last week looked comfortable until it wasn't comfortable. In Philadelphia, I see something happening with this team that when you have somebody from the outside waving their finger and saying something about you the way Drew Brees said about the Eagles. Now, I would imagine Drew Brees, it's not like Eagle fans hated him before, but I bet you they hate him now, calling the team boring. Really? Because they run the tush push? Because they have Saquon Barkley? Like you could say, hey, you know what? The take should be later on. They got to figure out how to juice up the passing attack. When you're playing teams like Tampa, you got to go a little bit more than one-dimensional. But if I'm Philadelphia, and if you could do it again, win the same style and be like, yeah, we're boring.
You never apologize for being successful.
4-0, we're boring. Are you kidding?
The Bucs have been cardiac to say the least so far, but they haven't really played anyone. They beat the Falcons by 3, they beat the Texans by 2, and they stole a game against the Jets that the Jets stole from them. That's nothing in comparison to the Super Bowl champions.
Time out. What's the team's name in Atlanta?
Falcons.
See, this is like the difference between you and I. I have the Rochester accent, the Falcons.
Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcons. Tim, the Falcons. Look at Michael Panic's back. The kid, or maybe Kirk Cousins. Give the Rochester accent. You have the King's English there, the Falcons. I hear your point on that. That's another matchup. Colts and Rams. All right.
Is Daniel Jones legit?
When we talked yesterday to Andy Behrens, I kind of teed him up like, all right, like the Colts haven't played anybody. He's like, no, they beat the Broncos. I'm thinking, if the Broncos don't do something dumb at the end of that game, Denver, and this is how the narrative can flip, how margins are so slim in this league. We're talking about the Colts at 2-1. We're not sure what to make of them, but we chalk that up as a quality win for Daniel Jones against Denver because Denver was stupid at the end of that game. All right, now they go and they play the Rams, and the Rams coming off a brutal loss, a big to Philadelphia. Tim, I think the Rams roll in this game. I think the Colts going out there. I think the Rams with the way it happened. I think this league is kind of a sine wave, meaning, all right, the Rams might be a little bit down. They'll be up in this game. But then if I'm wrong, I'm feeding right in this narrative for everybody else. So you're downing the Colts here. The Colts at 3-0, the team nobody thought would be 3-0 at this point of the season.
Yeah, by no means am I diminishing with the Colts. And as a matter of fact, the Chargers at 3-0, I don't consider either of them necessarily contenders to pair up with the Bills with the same record. Like their 3-0 is considerably different. Daniel Jones has been a nice story. He might be able to actually get them to the playoffs. But if we're talking an actual contender, I'm not so sure. That said, I think they have enough to beat the Rams just because they've actually looked good. Jonathan Taylor has been a superstar so far this year. And Daniel Jones has actually looked competent, not just a game manager.
Yeah, like the idea that Brian Dable should be fired if Daniel Jones all of a sudden produces like that. When all those off-season shows, Tim, where we're discussing hypotheticals, and the hypothetical being, all right, well, who could be this year's Sam Darnold, the veteran that comes around like Baker Mayfield was a couple years ago. It happens every year. Daniel Jones, like, no. Did you want to watch Daniel Jones for 6 years with the Giants, and like nobody picked him up as a starter, and they really were hoping the kid would be, starting in Richardson for the Colts. Okay, that's why I love this league. Things like this, like, wow, this is really happening with that. The Colts at 3-0. But if I could say, is there another team at 3-0 we're like, I'm not so sure, Jim? 49ers at 3-0. The 49ers with injuries, now Nick Bosa out for the year, and now they get Jacksonville coming across. That's not one I'm circling this week, but we get back to Monday, and you're going to be like, 49ers 4-0. Does that feel, because they're the Niners, and they were in the Super Bowl a few years ago, and because they have McCaffrey and some other parts, but to me that seems like a fraudulent 3-0 at this point.
Brock Purdy came out of nowhere himself, and if they're able to just get by with what they've got, of course, these injuries are far different than Brock Purdy, but if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, this team, again, I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're certainly a playoff caliber team.
Yeah. Ryder Cup, we've got baseball, we've got some hockey notes. We haven't even gotten to college football. So let's do this, Tim. We'll break right now. We'll come back for shots here in the sports bar, talk about some of the things we haven't gotten to, and we have time for your calls. Last call. You're always welcome to join us at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. This is The Fan Rochester.
Update.
No surprise that Oliver Matt Milano will miss this game against the Saints. Both ruled out. They didn't practice this week. Spencer Brown, AJ Epineza are both listed as questionable. Keon Coleman says the plan this week is simple.
This is an offensive game. Like, we got to execute on our end, and that's pretty much that. We don't feel like we be getting beat that way. And the only way we get beat is if we beat ourselves. So just handling what we handle, executing, honing in on the details, and, go from there.
9 a.m. Our pregame coverage will begin on Sunday. Chris Brown, Eric Wood, Sal Capaccio with the call at 1 here on the Fan Rochester. The voice of the Amerks, Don Stevens, announcing that this will be his last as the announcer for the Amerks. He is retiring after 40 years after this spring. Ryder Cup Day 1, Europe now leading 4-2 over the U.S. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
To 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
All right, so I'm going to put the over-under. 6 minutes to go in the game this will play?
Way prior. I don't know if that would be over or under, but way earlier than 6 minutes to go.
Bills up 35-0 in the half.
I think that will safely play sometime early in the third quarter.
No, they're not playing that in the third quarter.
That's when they call a game. I think that's when they call a game.
No, then they will never. McDermott wouldn't allow for it.
Maybe to start the fourth quarter then.
Never allow for it.
I don't know if it's up to him. Who's that? I wonder who that's actually even up to. Is it just
the thing I know about the Bills is that Sean McDermott has his hands in a lot of things. If they played that prematurely, that person would be reprimanded.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you've got to know what premature would be. You can't screw it up, obviously.
No.
But I think that they can safely do it in the third. Maybe they won't, but
I
they
think
can.
you would want to have people in the stands. That's also part of this. It's become such a thing now. Where,
when it goes, is that when people leave?
Yeah, I would think that, okay, we're up big. All right, let's just at least, do the sing-along here for a little bit. And the thing, too, I like pointing this out. Anybody that gripes about it, it's fun for people. Let people have their fun. Shots in the sports bar, some of the things we didn't get to. U.S. couldn't putt this morning. They were down 3-1. 4-2 is the current score. Could be, by the time you get home, 6-2. Now, a reminder, for the Ryder Cup, you got to get to 14.5. It ends up tied at 14. Well, then it will go to the team that is the defending champ, which would be Europe. So the U.S. has to get to 14.5. Also, from part of this, too, just the coverage on NBC this morning getting blasted. Sometimes this will happen. You got to take commercial breaks. Seemingly, they didn't know when to take the commercial breaks. A lot of action missed there at key putts.
My Twitter feed has been filled with angry Ryder Cup fans, just absolutely miserable about the coverage of this event so far. I don't have enough of an opinion about it to have one myself, but I'm seeing almost every 20 minutes somebody complaining about something within the broadcast. It's been crazy all day.
So this is something that is one thing on your sports menu, the Ryder Cup. Baseball this weekend. My, oh my, and this is exactly what Rob Manfred would want, right? All this drama heading into the last weekend. Who knew? Yankees and Jays tied for the division lead. Now, if they finish tied, it's going to be Toronto with a tiebreaker. The Guardians and Tigers now tied in the Central. It's the Guardians with the head-to-head advantage, again, by winning the majority of the games against the Tigers this year. The Dodgers' magic number to win the West, that's down to 1. The schedule in this final week in terms of the divisional races, the Yankees hosting Baltimore, the Jays hosting Tampa, Cleveland hosting Texas. Detroit isn't on Boston. We'll get to the wild card picture in a second. Dodgers are in Seattle. Now, the Mariners still have something to play for. They're vying for the top seed in the AL. Seattle is 17-1 in their last 18 games. The Padres still with a slim chance in terms of the division. They're hosting Arizona.
There is so much going on this weekend, not just for baseball, but just baseball is absolute chaos. And I love that. I'm excited for it. And I actually have a hand in it now with being a Guardians fan. I did not expect to be here 2 weeks ago. There are so many different scenarios, almost all of which include them in the playoffs, but they could also find a way to not get in. And
it's funny.
It's going to be a fun weekend.
That's how the Mets were last year, Tim, were oh gosh, this team isn't doing it. And then, hey, first week in September, here we go. Whoever's hot, who knows? You could end up with the Guardians in the World Series. Whoever doesn't win the American League East, that would be the Yankees or the Jays. They're going to be the 4 seed, hosting a wild card round this weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's way too close to determine who's going to get the other 2 spots. There are 3 teams. One of these teams will be out. Currently, it's the Red Sox, the AL Central loser, I'll just kind of phrase it, the Tigers and Guardians, and the Astros. Now, Boston's 1 up on Detroit, 2 ahead of Houston. Tim, is it Houston the odd man out? Are we going chalk here, or do you see another team falling apart? Could it be Detroit losing out at Boston?
I think Houston finds its way out just because of the head-to-head matchup between Boston and Detroit. If there's a sweep there, that sets something open, again, for chaos. Cleveland has to win 1, maybe 2 games against Texas to get the division or clinch a wild card spot. Houston has to have a lot of things fall in their favor, and I think that makes it really tough just because of that last matchup. Detroit and Boston going head-to-head, and the likelihood of a sweep in that series just not being probable.
Now, in the National League, this is more set. The top wild card will be the Padres, that we know, unless the Dodgers implode. So figure, again, it's not in stone, but it's looking like a Padres, a Cubs wild card round. That's good stuff, right? Who gets the last spot? Well, the Mets are up 1 game on the Reds, 2 games up on Arizona. If Arizona loses tonight, you look at the Mets, though. I say up 1 game on the Reds, literally, but if they end up tied in the standings, that'll be Cincinnati with a tiebreaker. If Arizona loses tonight against the Padres and the Mets wins, Arizona is out. Reds finish up at Milwaukee. The Mets are in Miami. Now, Milwaukee, by the way, up 2 games on Philadelphia for the top seed in the National League, so Milwaukee's not going to roll over, at least not tonight here.
The next 48 hours are going to be really compelling, and Arizona probably weeds itself out just over the course of needing every single domino to fall in their favor. The Mets are holding on for dear life. I think they get it done, but the fact that they don't possess that tiebreaker over Cincinnati, and Terry Francona knows when it's time to jump ship and join another team, this might be the year that he just finds himself in the playoffs yet again with a team that is overachieving.
Quick note on the 2026 Major League Baseball schedule. The Yankees open in San Francisco. This, according to Andrew Marchand, we already know where to find that. That game is going to be broadcast on Netflix. What? Not on, yes, on Netflix, opening day for the Yankees. Tim, it's going to take some time to kind of recalibrate when we get to these new TV partnerships. I can't even call them TV anymore. And they're like, it's all going to be streaming services.
All these streaming platforms are cool as a standalone thing, but needing every single one to get certain features is agonizing. I miss the way where you just flip the channel. You got to you got to have 32 apps and get to all of them. Yeah, well, I'm now old man at cloud.
Yeah, we were dead wrong on this. We thought, give us more choices. We want choices. Let us pay a la carte. We didn't see this happening. Now, maybe, to play devil's advocate, who knows? Maybe Apple buys Netflix. Maybe we'll have some consolidation when it comes to all these platforms. Like, one thing is, like, you had 3 and then 4 networks, so that made it kind of easy. And then you had ESPN and some other cable outlets come along the way. But now that, will we get consolidation amongst the big streaming services? I don't think so. But to your point, it's not now. You have to get to a point where, okay, what can I live without?
Right.
That's where, can you live without Sabres hockey? Can you live? Okay, can you live without Turner? Can you live? It's difficult to subscribe to everything. People will say, "Oh my gosh, this show on Paramount, I don't get it. I'm sorry, like your own little club there."
There's one show, unfortunately for me, there's one show on just about every platform where I don't need it year-round, but at some point over the course of the year or whenever the series comes out or debuts or they've got those standalone games, I'm going to need all of them at some point, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's like say, Apple, for instance. By the way, Apple Baseball, that was a bomb. I think that's going away.
But then Netflix comes in, so nothing changes other than the name.
No, but my point about net, you're just saying, like, okay, like, I don't see, there's one show I love on Apple, and that would be Severance.
Mm-hmm.
And Severance, if you're, like Danger says, I'll put it on the list. One of those shows that if you start watching episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, you would say, why would Gene recommend this to me? And I'm telling you just up front, you just got to stick with it. Okay. But once you do, it's like, yeah, but I couldn't tell you when the next season is going to be out. So you know what? At some point, Apple's going to go by when I can't afford everything, right? Nobody who can. Fox noon matchup with a West Coast team playing on the East Coast. So their body clock's going to be set at 9 a.m. for number 21 USC. They're at number 23 Illinois. Illinois got hammered against Indiana last week. The rest of your schedule shapes up like this. It's a sellout at the Dome tomorrow. I haven't talked much about this since Monday. Can Syracuse actually follow up that win over Clemson with another W? This would be a quality win, Tim. This is a decent team, a decent quarterback, and Duke coming in. That's a noon kickoff on the ACC network. Notre Dame playing at Arkansas. That is noon on ABC. Late afternoon window, highlighted by number 4 LSU and number 13 Ole Miss. Again on ABC. That's going to be followed up on the network. 17 Alabama against number 5 Georgia. Boy, you forget too, by letting the SEC rights go, ABC, they become the monster here. They go from Notre Dame to the LSU Ole Miss matchup to Alabama Georgia.
That is a full day of football amidst all the chaos of everything else happening. So you can, if you want to just watch one sport, you have your pick of the litter this weekend, and college football is probably the top of the list for a lot of people. You've got 12 hours of football if you really need it, and all of them are pretty compelling games.
Yeah, the other game, of course, we didn't mention, and that will be also in prime time. This is on CBS. Oregon, Penn State. Ducks are 6. Nittany Lions are 3. Who wins? Who loses? The drama, the suspense, Tim.
Probably Penn State loses because James Franklin doesn't beat highly ranked teams.
Kind of agree with you. I just want to see chaos.
Speaking of chaos.
Wait.
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back.
Tim is hitting me. I have no idea why you're hitting the button. Tim Schneider, our producer today. Tim, what do you got?
We've reached hole 18 of the Ryder Cup matchup between DeChambeau and Justin Rose. Their counterpoints, Fleetwood and Griffin. DeChambeau just hit a putt on 17 to make it a one-hole game or a one-hole match. They're on 18, teeing off with a chance to have that hole and kind of put a bow on what was a frustrating day for Team USA. They might be able to steal this one.
Okay, so right now it's Europe 4-2. We're thinking that DeChambeau, they're not going to get out of this. We're thinking so that could be 5-2 in favor of Europe. Then it's going to be up to Cantlay. Mike Cantlay pointed this. Apparently they called him Patty Ice on the broadcast. Oh, gosh.
All right, whatever you're into, I guess.
No. Fun show we had today. Let's review. Let's look ahead to the weekend. Let's take your calls. Last call is for you here in the Sports Bar. Phone number 866-4FAN, 866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia. Today with Tim Schneider here on The Fan.
sure that everybody's ready out there.
Yeah, I mean, Chrome does a great job no matter what. I mean, if you're a backup, if you're on the practice squad, he makes sure everybody knows the technique and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the league, and I'm blessed to have him as mine.
That is Ryan Vandermark, who I would guess is going to get the start for the Buffalo Bills coming up. We don't know that for sure, but Spencer Brown not practicing this week. He's listed as questionable. It's the Saints. It's a good time for a little bit of load management. I think the thing with Spencer Brown is he can be a real nasty player for this team, but he's also a big guy, and there's some back issues on and off over the years. Let Spencer Brown, heal up and give him a week off here. I think Bills will just be fine with Ryan Vandermark. This would actually be his third start. He started 2 last year. I would guess one of them would have been the Patriot game right at the end. He's undrafted, came in with the Colts, playing his college ball at UConn. Not known for football, but Ryan Vandermark, I'm guessing, is going to be starting for the Buffalo Bills this week.
This week is as good of a week as any to get guys reps that might become necessary down the line. Injuries happen throughout the course of a season. You've got to be ready to go in any given moment. There's an injury right now which presents this opportunity. Put these guys out there against a team that you're expected to beat. There might be some struggles, some growing pains, but you're playing as a team that you're favored to beat by 15.5 points. At the end of the day, technically, all you have to do is win by 1. We'll have a lot of complaining to do if that is the result, but I don't think there's any way that they find a way to lose this game. You don't have to win by 15.5. You have to win by 1. Get these guys out there, get them the reps, get them the plays and the ability to be out there, and it might do them favors down the line this season.
One game we talked about on the NFL schedule that, all right, it's not the sexiest matchup, but one of these two teams are going to say, all right, they're winning games, but are they real? If San Francisco wins, hey, they're 4-0. Wins over Arizona, New Orleans, Jacksonville. If the Jaguars win, wait a second, they're 3-1 with Liam Cohen. Okay, maybe there's something there in that crummy division. Here's an interesting sideline. You forget that Robert Saleh, he knows a thing or two coming up. From the Jaguars side of things. He says that the Jaguars have an elaborate sign stealing system that he has to make his players aware of. Now, we think sign stealing, and it's not a big thing now that, you have the little gadget where the pitchers and, catchers talk, and that was certainly a big thing, years ago with the Astro scandal, whatever. You think sign stealing, you think baseball. But, gosh, Tim, I would think anybody with half a brain, if you just watch from the stands, you could figure out things rather quickly if they're pretty basic for some of these teams.
Michigan football made it a whole thing. They got in a lot of trouble for it. At the National Football League level, it hasn't happened in 20-so years since the Patriots got caught. But that said, it probably happens every week somewhere to some extent. But to have to game plan for it, I'm a little surprised to hear.
Yeah. The Steelers and the Vikings, and you talk about, okay, we're going to get up and watch golf this weekend. We can get up and watch football from over the pond. We can watch Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, when he played in London last year, PU, it was actually against the Vikings. And here now the Vikings, different setting, different opponent for the Vikings, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then here's Aaron Rodgers criticizing the schedule going over. Come on. And really?
Aaron Rodgers became social media quarterback, and as soon as he was allowed to share his opinion, all he does now is share his opinion. I cannot wait for him to retire, and it's going to be a great day for the National Football League because that, at one point in my life, Aaron Rodgers was, for my money, the best quarterback in football, on track to be the best of all time. And man, post-COVID, did he fall off a cliff, and it's going to be really cool. That final season in Pittsburgh, this likely being the last one, I cannot wait for that to be over.
It's when he stops playing, his platform will be diminished.
Yes, please.
There are people in our business that, hey, you're one play, and everybody's got a podcast now these days. And I'm sure there will always be the legions of followers for Aaron Rodgers that cannot wait for the next podcast to drop. But when it comes to the mainstream media, it will be like, oh, yeah, that guy. I remember him. Yep. Oh, okay. Whatever. Our phone number, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Look, last call is for you. You can set the agenda here. Dan's calling from Webster. What's up, Dan? What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Just getting out of work late, heading home, and I'm going to make it just in time to catch one of my favorite shows, Friday Night Rivals. Looking forward to hearing your call, Gene.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to call earlier in the week because, man, what an awesome game last week. I really thought Irondequoit was going to have a tough night, and I can't believe that they managed to hang around and pull it off. I wanted to give a shout-out, give some props to Sam Thor. That kid can frickin' tackle, man. And jumping off of that, also deserves some kudos is the Irondequoit coaching staff for teaching those kids, coaching them up how to tackle so well. That number 44, that freshman, that kid's going to be a stud. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say, it was a great game, hoping for another one tonight. And also, the Bills, I think we're finally going to we're not going to get over the Kansas City hump, but I don't think we're going to need to. We're going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you for the kind words. Let's start our way backwards. Does it feel any different when the Bills finally do this Sunday, but the Chiefs weren't part of the path? And the answer is no. No. You don't get to call your shot based on the opponent. You can control whatever you can control. Trust me. I mean, it will be a topic for sure. And I do think Kansas City is going to figure this out. Worthy's coming back. Rice will be back soon. Kansas City is going to be a wild card team, and I betcha, they'll be in the divisional round. Just my guess. As far as Section 5, go out and support your local school. Go support these kids. It's a fun Friday night. The weather is perfect. He was bringing up Irondequoit last week, Tim. We did that game against Canandaigua. Tonight, we are at East Rochester still can't believe Leroy and Cal Mum, they had to merge. That wasn't by choice. It was by number. So they merge, and you know what they call themselves now?
I do not.
They are the Leroy Cal Mum Rivals.
I mean, I guess it makes sense.
I guess you're right. So the Rivals taking on the Bombers tonight. And the kid Thor he mentioned for Irondequoit, the kid can tackle, which that's kind of a lost thing. Even in the NFL, does anybody know how to tackle here anymore? Great show today. Don Stevens, congratulations to Don, announcing today that this will be his final season as the voice of the Amherst. He joined us in the studio at 3 o'clock. DA, Damon Amendolara, was late in the 4 o'clock hour. If you miss any of that, go download the Odyssey app, listen back to it. Monday, Bills Saints reaction. Buffalo Plus 13 Wham Mike Kailana will be joining us. Also, Nate Geary from the Buffalo Bills Radio Network. Tim, good luck to your Guardians.
Appreciate it.
Good luck to your Browns.
Thank you.
And wish me good luck, Mets. Let's go, Mets.
Good luck, go Mets.
Let's go, Mets. The JR Sport Brief is coming your way next. Great job this week, Tim.
Thank you.
JR Sport Brief next year on The Fan.